go get your fucking shine box.
That's like one of the best lines.
It is one of the best lines. He's like, keep him here, fucking keep him here.
Keep them here. Keep them here. Something.
Those guys are the best players. Like even just in all of the different movies. How many swears has Joe Pesci thrown out, do you think, in his career?
I don't think he actually knows how to act. I think it's just he knows how to swear really good. And he does it with an accent, which makes it even better.
So there was, you know Rick, Georgina's husband.
Yeah.
Rick, yeah. So we worked together with the Broken Plate. That was like our line back and forth, right? So anytime we said something, you're like, hey, yeah, can you do this? Great. Now go get your fucking shine box.
I think it's like that one thing all guys will always. You know that one scene in Bloodsport where the guy where he throws the salt in.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. You know, one time I was at a bar. I swear you not. One time I was at a bar and I was talking to this young lady and some guy was rubbing his eyes. I go, oh, it looks like the scene from Bloodsport. She goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I guarantee you. I go, if I walk up to that guy and go, dude, what's this scene from when you're rubbing your eyes? He'll know. She goes, no way. I swear you not. I went up to this guy and I'm like, hey, if I rub my eyes just like this, what's he? He's like, Bloodsport, man.
Obviously.
Guys are weird that way. We'll remember the weirdest things from movies.
I know, but do you ever wonder if, like, does the new generation, do they watch these movies? Do they go back? Are they on the out? Because Bloodsport literally was an iconic movie that everybody saw.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'll walk up to anybody at a certain range, they rub their eyes, you know exactly what they're talking about.
Or the shine box
or the
scene
shine box.
or whatever. You're right. I don't know. I don't think the cinematic value's there anymore.
Yeah, like I find Scarface is too easy now, right?
Yeah, well, way too easy.
Way too easy.
That's like the giveaway.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you saw Scarface, but did you watch A Bronx Tale? Do you know what the words "now use can't leave"? Do you know what those mean?
That's big.
That's huge.
And that's when you know you can correlate with that guy. You know, you can have a little conversation. Well, that brings us to podcast number 4. I'm excited about this. You know, I don't know why I keep forgetting which one we're on. 4, 5.
Yeah,
8.
because
Does it really matter if I tell the people?
Well, because you're high and you're drunk when you walk in. Okay, first of all, coming when we do a podcast at 5:30 and you walk in at 5:43.
There was traffic today.
5:43,
There
Mitch.
was traffic today.
And I know what you did too. You phoned. You're like, hey, do the guys need any coffees? Fucking suck up.
I'm at least a gentleman. I'm a gentleman where I ask. I know I'm late. I hate being late. If anyone knows anything about me, I hate being late. Granted, I've done it 2 weeks in a row. However, I'm not that kind of guy. Ask any of my customers. I'm always on time. I'm always there.
I will say this. You did bring a couple frappedes, which is the Greek iced coffee. You brought them from home, and you kept bragging. You're like, I know I made you terrible ones in the past.
Yeah.
How is it? I'm going to grade you right now.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick sip again. I'm going to do the whole thing.
Please. Out of 10.
Actually, it's very good.
Thank you.
It's very good. I'm going to give you a solid 8.
Solid 8.
Solid 8.
So if the coffee or me was in a bar, you pick me up.
Oh, buddy, are you kidding? I'd order a second one to go.
But you know what's funny? So I made the coffees today, but we got a donation again this week for coffees.
Woo!
We for some reason we cannot get money to like sponsor our time at the studio. However, my brother Nick and the great people at Bonacera North this week, home of the 10-cent chicken wing, Wednesdays and Saturdays, donated the coffee. But I used that money to buy Zach, our boy Zach, and Jeff, obviously, some Timbits.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? And that was gracious of you. So our sponsorship went right back into Zach and Jeff. And for those, if you want, you can always follow Bonacera or Nick, who is a follower at Nico Hans on Instagram. So you can definitely check him out on there. Thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, buddy.
So, Mitch, the faithful, they understand what happens at around this time of the show at the very beginning. And that is we talk about what's happening in the real locker room talk world. Are we growing? Last week, we had a celebrity on last week.
What a great show last week.
It was an excellent show, actually.
Did you like it? What did you think, like, rolling with Angelo?
I like the sound of my own voice to begin with. So after that, it's really good. But, he was fantastic to be on the show. He was a very nice guy. It's funny because you kind of know him from before. I actually just met him, but
I knew him from before, like the day before. But anyways, go on.
The day. Oh yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It seemed like he let us do our thing.
Yeah,
you know,
well, I thought
really
he
cool
did
guy.
great. And boy, did he do well. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. He did great. And we
I think
thank
my
him
wishes
again.
came true, except I'm leaving the show.
No, thanks again to Angelo. That was awesome, and he was a tremendous.
Yeah, he's doing his tour. And for anyone listening, if you do want to follow him, it's at Big ANG Comic. That's his Twitter handle and Instagram handle as well. So I know he's doing some shows wrapped up here. Check out his stuff on YouTube. He's a really funny guy.
Awesome.
But we're growing, Mitch. We're still growing. We have not stopped. We are the immovable force.
We're like an infant child.
We're like the initial stages of Hulkamania, right? Like it's crazy.
Are we
what's
on
happening.
formula or breast milk?
Oh, that's a really good one. We're actually mostly formula, but pounding the breast milk
I like it.
out of sheer luxury.
I like this.
Yes,
I like
of course. We've grown, increased all across the channels. Still downloaded in 7 countries, but I want to bring something to attention.
I'm listening.
On Instagram, we hit a landmark 100 followers. As of today,
100 today?
100.
Wow.
The C note, the century, the El Alejandrino. I don't even know if that's a thing, but it is now.
It is now.
Absolutely.
The 100. I like it.
And some really big news and exciting that's going to be coming to our fans and our listeners, who will now be our viewers, because we are soon getting the YouTube channel.
What? Get out of here.
I just listened to the feedback of the fans.
You mean I have to shave and actually like...
Well, you'll never be the face. We can't afford that.
No.
It'll be on me and kind of pan out to Jeff and Zach.
Beautiful.
But you'll be there. They'll still hear you. We might flash one.
You know what? And then people can find out for real that I'm not 5'2". They'll know just by the sheer looking at the YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
I still have to
that I
measure
tell-
you,
yeah,
you
gotta-
liar. You
I'm not-
liar.
Look, we can all at least agree, right, Zach? I'm not 5'2". Zach knows it. You know it. Jeff knows it. I'm a clear 5'10 and a half. Easy all day.
That's awesome. Look, we'll just go to the beer gardens at the Stampede, because you can't go on the roller coaster. It's just not permitted for you, Mitch. You know it.
You know what? I feel like you're being a little disrespectful to the smaller people. We are people as well, okay? I'm past the 5 foot mark. I'm under the 6 foot mark. I don't know what we are. I don't know if there's an actual name for us called humans. We're normal. Hairy Ewoks. I don't know what you want to call us. I've been called an Ewok once before. I detest you, sir. Now, getting into it, I got a couple of questions. How was your weekend? Did you do anything?
Actually, the weekend was really, really good. So, celebrated my only child, my first daughter, her baptism on Sunday.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, we had a baptism on Sunday. Very traditional, Greek Orthodox background. So Mitch, it's such a crazy celebration. Like,
Right.
The service is very good. Our priest, Father P. Rugas, did such a fantastic job. Everything was great. My wife, of course, Serbian, so it was nice having, we're the same religion, but the two families there. It was just a beautiful, and I mean, who wasn't there?
Right.
Who wasn't there? It was such a. I think we went to the Broken Plate in Willow Park here in Calgary, and the place was full, man, laughing, drinking. It's awesome.
Sounds fun.
Great time.
A second ago, you said who wasn't there?
Yeah. I mean, everyone.
Well,
was
I'm
there.
not gonna lie to you. I checked my email just now as we were talking.
Right.
I mean, unless you did Evite, did you send out like actual mail outs or Evites, or how'd you do that?
No, it was physical.
Physical?
Yeah. I even hand delivered some of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Probably, I mean,
Because
I don't know.
I'll be honest. I mean, I kind of feel like, well, let's just call it out right now. Let's just say, obviously, I didn't get the invite. Like, I'm a little surprised here. We're doing this podcast together.
Right.
I feel like we've become tighter since we started doing this.
We become tight. Yeah.
Your only child so far,
Right.
and I don't get the invite.
I just don't think we're there yet.
Oh,
because I'm looking at a cost.
I see.
I'm looking at a
We
cost.
can spend hours together talking on the phone.
Yes.
We can spend hours together emailing, doing the podcast, but I can't be invited to come to this event.
It's not that it's that.
And it's an event, by the way,
it's
for the people that's never been.
Yeah, it actually is an event. I don't know. I look at it at a cost per plate ratio, and I just say, is Mitch worth the 25 plus bucks? I don't know.
I'm
how
glad
much
you
you're gonna
spend more
drink.
than $25 on your people. Oh, thank God.
Oh, I spent more.
Let me guess.
It
It
was
was a
open-
Toonie bar, believe it or
It
not.
was open bar.
You, open bar.
Yes. What do you mean me open bar?
Wow, that's big
I'm a
big
very
news here.
generous
Big
person.
news. For anybody that knows, Dimitri, that this is big news. What happened? Did you get like a line of credit to go crazy on this or what? What
I
happened?
invited my mom and dad. That's
Thank
what
you.
happened.
Thank
That's
you.
my line
Thank
of
you to the
credit.
Caroluses for spotting Dimitri.
Yeah, and
Thank
the
you.
Vuciaks as well, man. Look, they're great people.
Oh,
great people.
Congratulations. Well,
Just move
I
on,
wish you all the
asshole.
best. You know what? I am going to move on. I'm moving on. This week I noticed, well, you know what? Let's since we're talking about numbers, let's go into the poll results.
Absolutely.
What did we put on there? We put a couple of
Okay,
things,
so
did we
there was a couple things. I'm going to go over the Instagram one. Now, one thing I want to mention with the Instagram poll, it comes out every Friday. So whatever we decide is the poll question of the week, it's coming out every Friday.
Yeah.
And you have to go on the Instagram live stories. And what that is when you go on Instagram, there's that top part that has people's avatars.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's where I post it, but it only lasts for 24 hours.
Okay.
So when you see it, or everyone who's listening, you got to vote that day. And the question in poll of the week was, who gets more action? Is it the athletes or is it the movie stars? And again,
You should have went trifecta. You should have been adding Zach's name to that.
well, no, I mean, why have such a lopsided vote?
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
I mean, at
it-
least there's one person that's thinking.
There we
between
go.
the two of us.
That's a
Thank
no-brainer,
you. Fair
right?
enough.
What's that?
The rock star. The rock star. Why didn't you? add
You
the
know
third
what?
one? Yeah.
Why don't we put the rock stars up against the winner
Yeah.
of this poll? And there we
we
go.
go.
We've already come up with the poll question of the week.
This thing just writes itself.
Thank you,
really.
Jeff.
Thanks,
Great
Jeff.
advice. Okay, so same thing happened. The movie stars jumped out to a commanding lead right away. I thought it was going to be lopsided. It was 80-20 within the first 4 or 5 hours that the vote was on. I'm like, oh, wow, we didn't nail it. It ended up being 55 to 45 again in favor of, who do you think?
I'm gonna go with the athletes.
You're going to go with the athletes. And you would be correct. The athletes are more desirable by our viewers to get more action than movie stars.
It makes sense. You know what it's about? It's about the physicalities, I think, at the end
That's
of the day.
what I think it is
so
too, right?
The big guys, big muscles, all that stuff. And then, for most of it, depending on what sport it is,
Yeah.
Maybe that's another poll question we could do. Which sport athlete gets the most amount of action?
We'll see if they can beat the rock stars.
Good idea.
Because I think the winner of that, then we can break it down into individual rock stars. I agree with you. There's the bodies, because if you think about it, like Danny DeVito is in the category of movie star.
That's a very good point.
Right? Whereas, you look at the athletes, they have the physicality, and they're not really talkative for the most part.
But you know
and
what?
I think a girl wants
guy-
a guy to shut the fuck up in bed.
That's true. Probably. You'd think that. But a guy like Danny DeVito, granted, maybe not the most attractive dude, but people know that he's famous. Maybe he gets a lot of action that way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's known for so many years. I mean, he walks down the street, and let's say some offensive lineman walks down the street.
Right.
Danny DeVito all day long is going to get probably picked up.
Yeah, that's off personality alone.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Go ahead. What is Jeff saying, Mitch?
Jeff said rock stars are like athletes that can party. Yeah, that is
Oh,
true. That is,
yeah.
You know what? That's all right. So there's the poll question for next week: rock stars versus athletes. Who gets more action? Who gets more ass? Done.
Friday night, go on Instagram and just vote. You got to click on the sticker. Please vote, and we'll have the results next week. Mitch, we also did another poll.
What? Yeah, that's right.
The other poll we did was on Twitter, and on Twitter, I posted up and said, who do you think would win the NBA championship this year, the preseason favorite? There's been a lot of moves in the NBA, a lot of people changing teams, and I posted up there, it was the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets,
Yeah.
the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Okay.
and the last one was the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I like it.
Okay. And believe it or not, the team that won by a very small margin, it was fairly split. The Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors, believe it or not, got less of the vote. the Oklahoma City Thunder was the favorite to win this year's NBA
I must be
championship.
on fire. I must be on fire.
Are you
because
picking the Thunder?
Not only did I crush you this week on pools, which we'll talk about later, not only did I get the athlete question right, and I went on the poll, obviously, and yeah, I took Oklahoma City Thunder. I think right now, after the season started, they were about 2 to 3 games in, depending on what time you listen to this podcast. Oklahoma City, did what every other NBA team did now and added the dynamic 3 or the powerhouse 3.
Right.
And so they've got Melo, they've got Russell Westbrook, and then they got the other gentleman, Paul George, there. So they have a pretty effective trifecta that are going to do some damage, I think, in the West. I think their only Achilles heel is the fact that they're in the West, and that the West is pounding with like a lot of other teams that have it. So, of course, Golden State's going to be in the running. Of course, Houston's going to be in the running. And then Cleveland kind of has a clear shot out of the East if they want it to be. It's kind of up for them. They just got to start gelling a little bit.
I agree with that.
And
as well.
I hate that. And I think I'm kind of happy to say this. I think the Raptors actually have maybe the second spot secured if they want it to be, if they play strong enough and do well enough. So my pick was Oklahoma City. So I'm happy to see that we got some NBAers listening to us. And because I saw there was actually quite a few.
Yeah, it was a great voter
Yeah.
turnout, actually. To
That's
be
good.
honest, I was impressed as well. And me and you both, right? Like, we're looking at sports, we're watching just like the regular fan through the week, and storylines are always coming up. So it's good to see what, how people are thinking. I thought that Golden State would be the favorite. It seems that we've come to the conclusion that the Golden State Warriors have the super team. They're the team to beat. We'll see them there. I think maybe that was preseason. My pick was the Cleveland Cavaliers, only because LeBron James. I'm sorry, in my opinion, the guy is the best player in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I think there's even an argument to put him in the running of all time in terms of athlete. But we can, we'll get to that. I know. See what I'm doing? A little teaser trailer.
I like that. I like that.
Teaser
I like
trailer.
where you're going with
We'll
this.
talk about that later.
Absolutely.
When we do live shows, people can call in.
Absolutely.
But I just thought that what they added, I know that Kyrie Irving left the team and that was a big hit, but they added some supplements coming back, right?
Absolutely.
And I think I think with LeBron James, they were still always going to be a contender regardless. But not only do they have a great starting 5, but they also got a little bit of a deeper bench, which I think was the problem why they couldn't really close the deal in Golden State. And the critical Game 3. Game 3, Cleveland could have won that game, and it could have been a whole different series, right? But that's obviously the past. Sorry to stop you, Mitch, but what I do like about what's happening in the NBA is the fact that I think this year we were saying, oh my God, again, here goes Cleveland, here goes Golden State. We'll see you in the finals. It's a little bit of intrigue now. There's, the West has 3 teams, like you mentioned.
I'm wondering if that's why the poll changed a little bit, where people are tired of watching Golden State. They don't want to believe Golden State or Cleveland are going to be in the finals for the fourth time now. So I'm on that belief, and I think the NBA, just like anything else, they want parity. Look, we talked about it before in a couple of podcasts before, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Do some people want to see them three-peat? Yeah. Do some people, were they excited to see a two-peat? People want diversity,
Right.
People want a little bit of change. It makes it more fun and a little more exciting. So that's where we're kind of. I think that's why you might have saw Oklahoma City getting the votes that they got, because it's going to be something kind of fun. And I think a lot of people want to see Westbrook take on Durant because of the. I don't want to say hatred, but there's a little bit of animosity there for sure, where Durant left Oklahoma and went to Golden State, and now
Makes for
Oklahoma.
A great story.
It does, absolutely, and that's what
Yeah.
it's all about, right? So, with that being said, it brings up to kind of where we want to start going forward with our locker room talks is we want to talk about the things that the people want to talk about, right? And what you kind of generally talk to your buddy about, or when you're sitting at a bar after you've had your game, is these open issue questions. So we're talking a little bit about the NBA and all these awesome teams. Mm-hmm. Now that we're here in October, which is basically for any kind of sports fan, this is the greatest time of the year. This is Christmas for any sports team. So if you're into MLB, playoff time. And today actually happens to be the first game of the World Series, so you've figured it out. Yes, we record on a Tuesday. And P.S., it's almost 40 degrees in LA today.
That's unbelievable.
In October 24th, almost 40 degrees in LA, and they're about to play the first game. And they're saying how it's going to be a crazy hot game, obviously. Just unbelievable. We're in October, and LA is still 40 degrees, almost 40 degrees.
I know you're going, but to touch, wasn't the Yankees run awesome?
It was kind of cool.
Whether you're a fan or not, I know, because the Yankees are the pinnacle of baseball. They have the big history, but man, to see him come back, I got caught up into it. I
Absolutely.
really did.
No, it's great. I hate to say it, as much as I'm wearing a Yankee hat. This is the weird thing. I'm wearing a Yankee hat, but I'm not a Yankee fan.
They
But
got a
I
good
love
blue
They
and
got
a
a
nice
great
logo.
blue. It's a nice logo. It's stylish. It really is.
What would you
But
name that blue? If
I
you had
would,
to
I would
name
say
it.
it's I don't know, a dark blue. I don't know.
Thanks for making me
Yeah,
look dumb, Mitch.
I don't know, man.
Just setting you up for something.
I had no idea.
I like
buddy.
how you looked at me. You're like, I don't know, a dark blue, you idiot.
No, it's what. Yeah, the Yankees were fun to watch, and I think it's going to be a good finals. Houston had a great start to the regular season, kind of tailed off a little bit back, and playing against the number one team that the MLB has right now in the Dodgers. But taking that and segueing it back into what I want to say. So right now you got MLB, you got NBA, you got NHL, you
Right.
got college football if you're into that. College basketball is about to start pretty soon here.
Right.
My question now to you, Coralie, and to the general public, what is the hardest team sport to win at? Win a championship.
To win a championship.
Yeah, hardest team sport.
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
That's a really good question. Who came up with that for you?
I stay up at night thinking about these things.
The hardest team sport to win in sports, in my opinion, I'm going to say is the World Cup.
The World Cup.
I think the World Cup is the hardest one, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
It is only played every 4 years. So there's a limited opportunity to win the championship.
I like where you're going.
Each player, at best, if your country makes it to all those World Cups, at best has about 3 on the average opportunities to even win the championship. It is the only sport that every single country participates and gets funneled down into a final 32. And I think the World Cup, I know it started in the 30s. I think it was 1934.
Okay.
I think when the World Cup started. So I think that there's only been like 19. This is the one in Russia coming up, I believe, is the 20th. I believe they mentioned this was the 20th World Cup.
Okay.
So there's been a total of 19 championships to win this tournament. So I put the World Cup in there.
You got to put the World Cup in.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great answer. I hate giving you props. That's a great answer, and I love where you're going with it. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm still not inviting you to my next baptism as it stands.
I tried.
Okay.
Literally, that's where I was going with that whole thing. I was trying there. I have to, you know what? I thought about it long and hard, and I had it down. Believe it or not, it came down to baseball, and it came down to hockey. And I know those are kind of two ones that a lot of people were probably thinking. And on the way here, I changed my mind. I had baseball as the winner to this question.
Okay.
Because there's a limited amount of teams that are making it. Now in the NHL, 16 teams make it, each from each side, right? Where in baseball, there's not as many teams that make it. And then baseball's also dragged out over basically the worst time of the year during the summer and everything like that, right? And then what I really like about baseball is the playoff format that they've come up with lately. You got the 2 wild cards that play in a 1-game playoff.
That's awesome.
I love it, and I think it's done wonders for baseball. Then they play a 3-game series, then a 7-game series, then you're in the World Series. So I guess what I'm saying is you really got to be on top of your game. So after a long, tenuous year, and most teams will know if they're in the playoff hunt by the middle of August. So if they know they're in it, they're still battling out. So it's basically like playoffs for a lot of teams going into September. Then they make it or they don't make it or whatever the case may be. Then once they're actually in, they might. If you're the wild card, well, you don't know how long you're going to be in there. You have a 1-game series, and you play and you end up going. The reason that they lost and I chose hockey in the end is simply this. Because just like hockey and baseball, the one thing about baseball is a game where it becomes the long ball, right? Like everyone loves the home run. Everyone loves all that exciting hitting. Just like in hockey, you want to
Well,
score a
because there's
playoff
so
goal.
much. I hate to say there's so much boring filler in between
That's right.
baseball that it's you're just waiting for the
Yep,
moment.
exactly.
Right?
Which is why everyone loves the home runs and everything like that. But once, just like in hockey, once it comes to playoff time, everything shrinks. Everything gets tighter, everything's playing harder, and the game just becomes amazing. And where hockey won is simply because hockey, they play every other day. And these guys are physically banging each other into the boards. These guys are skating hard. These guys are, the time clock in baseball. The other difference is in baseball, they're innings, right? So an inning can last, if it really wanted to, a half an hour, depending on the situation. Hockey, 20 minutes, and the period's over. So if you scored goals, you won the game. You didn't score goals, you lose the game. It's pretty simple. It's a lot more stressful. And so at the end of the day, I chose hockey as the reason. And have you noticed how in like hockey playoff games, these guys are blocking shots. During the year, no one's blocking any shots, and then come playoffs, it actually becomes like a major stat that they follow.
I think for a yearly sport, because I'm still going to stay on the World Cup, just because I think the frequency.
No, you make a good point.
It's the entire world has a representative, right? So it's not regulated by any sort of league where there's a salary cap issue at all. This is you get the opportunity to make your country's super team. And if you think about it, nations like Germany, Italy, and Brazil that have won, multiple, I believe they've each won a minimum of 4. Excuse me. How hard is that? So they make up over half of the total eligible World Cups. It's absolutely crazy. In a yearly thing, if I had to go, I would agree with you with hockey over baseball. I do the playoffs in baseball might be the most ruthless eligible playoffs to make. You're right, because you win the pennant, you're in. You have a wild card 1 game, and there you go. 5-game series for the first round, and then the 7-game. But the physicality, these guys are getting body checked all the time. Like I say, I know the block shots, they don't really happen as much in the regular season. But what's more exciting than playoff hockey?
Nothing, especially the first round.
Yeah, I think that might be the most exciting playoffs is playoff hockey. Mm-hmm. It's fast, it's hard hitting, it's everything. You're going crazy watching it.
But saying that, as much as I love your answer, I have to admit it didn't cross my mind because I'm short-sighted that way. But your answer was fantastic. It's one thing to cheer on your favorite team within the city that you love and the team, but cheering on your country, I can only imagine how crazy that would be.
Think about it. These are all these people have sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Great answer, and I think you're absolutely right. And it's probably why the most amount of people watch soccer in the entire world. So that makes sense. So good answer, Caudalie. I like where you're going with that. Not bad.
Well, last week you kicked the shit out of me in a lot of other competitions. Right. So I'm glad I could win one. I'm going to bring up another one then while we're on the topic of sports, because these are team sports.
Okay.
So what about individual sports? Individual sports or a game, right? Golf will be eligible on this one. Mm-hmm. I know it's considered a game, but we'll put it all in there. Just what do you think is the hardest to either win a championship or whatever that sport respectively is the pinnacle? You know what?
Because this question's obviously come up before. Actually, me and my brother, and then a couple of his buddies, we were talking about this as well. I'm gonna throw one out at you that has recently come to fruition, and it's become a global phenomenon in the last little while. And I truly think it's probably the hardest thing. Now, there's maybe 3. I'll give you 3 sports, but I'll give you my number 1. I think tennis is, like, individually one of the hardest things in the entire, because so this summer, me and my girl went out and we were just fooling around.
Yeah.
And then, like, we played the worst version of tennis.
What do you mean by fooling around?
I was trying to make out with her on the court, and then she's like, there's a lot of people watching. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess.
Did you go for boob right away?
I always go for boob right away.
Right away. Yeah, that's move 1?
So that's move number 1.
I go for nice conversation.
Really? No. Yeah. I feel like if you can't grab boob right away, then what are you going to talk about after, really, at the end of the day? No, but so we started playing, like, the worst version of tennis ever, right? Like, so we're hitting the ball. It's like ping pong, but on a bigger scale kind of thing, right? And then that's when I kind of realized, I'm like, man, like this ball, when professionals are playing it and when it's being played correctly, this is a hard game. This is like running side to side at top speed, sprinting, trying to hit the ball to get it over the net and all that. So that, believe it or not, is second place to what I'm about to tell you.
Can I bounce one?
Sure,
Can I bounce one off?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it's I'm gonna laugh because there were two that I was debating.
Sure.
And tennis was one of them for
Yeah.
me. And the other thing to think about with tennis before I name it is keep one thing in mind about tennis. In order to be number one,
Yeah.
you have to win pretty much the exact same tournaments that you won the year before to keep those points.
Right.
So it's not like, okay, I won a couple tournaments, maybe had a bad 4 or 5 months, because it's all done in points, right? They have
Right.
the 4 big Grand Slams and the other ATP tours. You have to repeat your performance and in some cases even do better in order to stay at number one. You have to be in top physical shape, just
Yeah.
like, let's say, a soccer player.
Sure.
Or anyone, an athlete. And it is a sport that is strictly on your merits. Like, it's only you against the opponent. So you literally do have control for most of things that happen. But here's where tennis just slightly by a hair loses out to me.
Sure.
I think the hardest individual sport to be number one at is boxing.
Really?
Yeah. I think to be a boxing world champion is the hardest because it's mano a mano.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting in there and you constantly eating hits like crazy.
Granted.
And I'll even, you know what, respectfully, I'll even put MMA in there.
Sure.
Although I don't think MMA is at a global level as of yet. So there's a little bit of leeway to kind of get back in the mix. But in boxing, if you lose momentum, even in the slightest, your career can be over.
Sure.
You know,
Sure. That's very true.
It's over. There was a guy that recently fought. You know me, I love my boxing.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a guy that fought on HBO. He was on the pound for pound list. They loved this guy. They were promoting him, making him big. His name's Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez.
Okay.
And he was 47-0, and he was looking really good. He lost 2 fights back to back for this guy from Thailand named Ringsfai.
Sure.
And he's done.
He's over.
It's over. Old news. They're already looking past him in the division. Done.
So you know what I've found in both our answers, and I'm about to tell you my number one, and it's kind of similar to yours, but it's the one thing that the individual sports seem to have a lot of respect from both of us is that this is commission only, basically.
Yeah.
You win, you get paid. You don't win, you're done.
You're done.
So there's
Yep.
a lot of respect out to the individual sports guys. So the number one sport right now that I think is the hardest to win and to just actually do, CrossFit. I've been thinking about, and I know for all those CrossFitters that are going to listen to me, they're
But
like,
is CrossFit a sport, though? I'm not
Buddy,
sure. I'm not sure. Hold on. I'm not trying to insult anybody.
oh,
But,
I think you're going to insult some people.
but I mean, like, are you talking like American Ninja Warrior?
No,
Like
no,
that
no,
kind
no,
of
no.
stuff?
I'm talking about the actual CrossFit Games. Have you watched this?
No.
Oh, buddy, go to Netflix and pull up the 2016. I think they have it. I think it was the 2016 they have on Netflix. It's unbelievable. Right now, it has taken on. So it started with this family that kind of did it on their ranch as a joke, and then
Okay.
it grew into this. What it is now is literally a world phenomenon where you have to compete in your region, you have to compete in your country, and then get selected, win your country, win your division, and then you get selected to go to the actual games. It's kind of like blood sport, going back to the very beginning.
It's amazing.
You get pulled in, and you go to California. And now this is the thing. So
Okay.
you're training all year long, but the thing is, you don't know what events. So when you go to your events to try to compete and come in, you still don't know what you're competing for. Okay.
So they surprise you, like,
They surprise you both at the event that you're qualifying for,
Right.
And then once you actually get to the actual CrossFit Games, you don't know. They don't give you an agenda. So imagine you go to the Super Bowl, and then at the last minute,
They're saying it's rugby rules.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, we're not playing American style football. We're playing
okay,
rugby
so what do
rules.
they do in the CrossFit Games?
Buddy,
Is
they
it
do,
like a
and this is what I'm
decathlon?
saying. It's like everything. No, see, this year is the first time they incorporated a bike. So they actually, you had to like mountain bike it in through a course and do whatever. So you have to be good at swimming. They swim, biking, running around up and down stairs with sandbags, coming down. You know those things that you used to do when we were in elementary, climbing the ropes and
Mitch
crap
doesn't
like
look
that?
like I used to do anything.
Well, for any
ropes.
fat hairy kids like me and Dimitri waking up and going to elementary, remember that horrible rope thing they made you do? That's like elementary stuff to them.
You had to climb up and then you had to pretend you got hand burn. You're like, oh, I got hand burn.
And you get the burn between your legs too.
I got a timeout. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm just gonna go get a drink of water.
And then
at
you go
fountain.
to the nurse's office. You're like, yeah, I got a burn right there, honey, right there.
Did you try to get feels from the nurse?
I tried. Well, I did what I could.
I remember one time.
She caught on to it.
This was
away.
in high school. This is a true story. Everything's a true story, right?
For
Even
sure
if
it
it's
is.
not. No. So I'm in high school and I'm just feeling like shit. And finally I suck it up and I'm like, yeah, I got to go to the doctor's office, right? So I go down to the nurse's office and I'm like, hey, I just need a place to lie down. I'm not feeling well, so on and so forth.
Is it because you got up too fast? What happened?
I tried to do math.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there lying on the couch. Well, the nurse walks in, right? And she's just sitting, and she doesn't even sit cross-legged. She just kind of sits like this, hey, Mitch, open. And I'm like right inside, and I can see up her skirt the entire time. And she's asking me questions, right? And I'm just like, pantyhose. I mean, fever, right? Best grade 11 moment of my life. Top five.
Top five?
Yeah,
top five.
Top five.
Missed opportunities. # missed opportunity. So I'm gonna tell you right now, CrossFit, I highly encourage anyone to watch it.
So you put CrossFit over Olympic Games or any of those? Because this is what it sounds to me.
Because these guys have to be good at everything, man. And they also don't know. So if you're a gymnast, you know that you're going to be doing the rings, so you got to train for it. And you're going to practice rings all day long. These guys are literally having no idea what's going to be called upon that day, and they have to beat all the top. Man, I literally will put a top-end CrossFit athlete against any other athlete.
I think they should put the CrossFit athlete versus the decathlon, 5 known sports, 5 unknown sports, and that'll help settle it. But here's the thing, though. Wouldn't it be harder, though, if you know what you have to do and everyone knows what each person has to do, and you have to have a regimen training to compete at that? It's like, I know that we're running 8 kilometers.
I think what it comes down to is discipline. Like when the only reason tennis didn't win out is because in tennis, and I'm telling you, it was a slight margin in my head, but tennis is so highly amazing. But the thing is, even though I can't play tennis right now, if you put me in lessons, I'll slowly learn it. I'm never going to be great at it.
Sure.
I'm never going to be a Federer or anything like that, but I'll eventually get better at it. You put me in CrossFit, man, you can't take a day off. You can't fool around. Like you're either in it, like if you're going to get to that level or you're not. There's no if, and, or buts about it. And I'm a big believer. And you know what was also on my radar is bodybuilding. Like I'm not joking you, man, but these gargantuan men and women are the kind of people, they know exactly the kind of proteins they're putting in their body. They're lifting they're sculpting their bodies, man. Like it's crazy.
Well, at what point, this is what I'm wondering, is there a peak weight? Is there a finite amount of weight that someone can lift? Let's just say a dead, or what do they call that? Is that the clean and jerk in the Olympics?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, is there a finite weight where we're going to reach a maximum, or do you think it's just going to slowly get a little bigger?
I think as we progress as just humans, I think it's going to totally.
Here's another question for you then, right?
All right.
Would you love to see a steroids Olympics?
Oh, that'd be the greatest thing
anything
ever.
Goes. Just juice up whatever you want, get going.
In our last podcast, we said how, maybe not the last one, the one before,
right?
We were talking
which was
about,
like what, episode 23, right, Mitch?
With my interpretation,
whatever
about 23. No, but in all honesty, man, look how amazing! If your body can adjust to it and do it, I think it'd be highly entertaining. I'll bet you more people would tune in to watch the steroid Olympics than the normal.
That's
Olympics.
my point. Could you imagine a guy just taking a javelin, guy or girl? Right? And they're just running. And they get to the line and they whip this javelin. It goes out of the stadium and just, it's going to
impale somebody outside of the stadium. That would be amazing. It's just like.
That reminds me on Happy Gilmore. Remember when he got mad, right? And he took the pin and he just throws it in the camera guy's like, ah! Yeah, man. Steroid Olympics.
Steroid Olympics. You know what? I think we should push on it. I think we're onto something. I like this idea.
You know what they're missing in the Olympics, though?
What's that?
Over the top arm wrestling, just really get the Stallone,
absolutely
old school, just arm wrestling.
Oh, and you know what? Countries would be behind that all day long. Like, who's the strongest arm wrestler? Like our country, like whatever.
Which nation do you think would win arm wrestling?
In women or men's division?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, because if you're arm wrestling,
men's division,
you're borderline both.
I'm thinking for men's division, it's some country that doesn't get a lot of sunlight because you're home by yourself a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like Antarctica would be huge in that. And then the women's division, you can't. I've traveled Europe a little bit, and I gotta admit, the German ladies are some very beautiful ladies, but there's some very large. Oh, you know what? I take that back. Before I even say Germany, Samoans. The Samoan women are big and they're strong, and I would
never have thought of Polynesia.
Yeah, Polynesian. Polynesia would dominate in the women's category,
which is Greek for many islands.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and that's a free lesson, folks.
Thank you so much, everyone.
And that concludes our podcast for. Just kidding! Don't cut, Zach. Don't cut.
Don't cut it. We got at least 20 minutes.
Yeah. We're paying for this damn studio, right?
Well, one of us is, anyways.
Thanks, Mitch.
How's it going?
So I think for the men's arm wrestling, I have to go with one of my childhood idols, Magnus Ver Magnusson.
Oh, yeah.
From Iceland, world strong. I think the Icelandic men, they'll dominate it.
Well, they don't get a lot of sunlight up there.
They don't get exactly. So you were on the right.
Good.
I thought you were going to steal my pick. You're like, not a lot of sunlight. I'm like, don't pick Iceland. Don't pick Iceland, because then I wouldn't know what to do. In terms of women, I would have never thought the Samoans. I think you're probably right. But just for the sake of being different, I think that I'm going to go with Estonia. I think the Estonian women's national team would dominate the arm wrestling world.
That's a great pick. You know what? They were close to Chernobyl, are they not? So
yes.
Radioactive powers like Spider-Man
and
stuff like that.
I think they can, leap over tall buildings and and X-ray vision. I think that's a fact, Mitch.
Awesome. Okay, so with that being said, I love what you said about team sport. I like what you said about individual. I think it's a topic that people can sit down and think about, and send us your thoughts on what you think. If you think we're crazy, tell us. If you think that we're super smart, tell me, because I know I am. But let's go from there. So let's get to the best part of the day. I love
arguably the best part.
Love this part. How about the domination that was brought upon you by my boy Angelo, because you messed with the wrong guy? Angelo crushed you, man.
He did.
In picks last week.
He actually crushed me.
He did.
Yeah, it's not even a joke. I slam you all the time, and Mitch, I'm giving you the floor. Say your worst. I deserve it.
You literally, I'm looking at your picks, and the Browns, granted it had to go to overtime or whatever, the Browns. And then where's another one you had here that I just absolutely adored? Oh, the Falcons. Great pick, brah. Great pick. One thing I wanted to say to you was that my cousin Angela, who also happens to be a podcast listener, I met her on Friday. We usually meet up. Shout out to my Ride Day Friday group on every Friday. We meet up and have a couple.
Ride Day Friday.
We call it Ride Day Friday.
Degenerate.
I've realized on this podcast that I have a problem both gambling and drinking.
We both do. It's just I'm the first one to comment to call you out. I'm no saint either.
We call her Big Ange, and Big Ange, because she's the oldest, by the way, not because of anything else. She literally did her own picks, and I have a picture of it on my phone. I'll show it to you. She also crushed you. She never watched NFL. She knows some team. She knows that I'm a Packer fan and you're a Packer fan.
Right.
Outside of that, she's like, oh, this sounds fun. So she wrote down her picks. I took a picture of it. She got 10 right. Crushing you.
This is bullshit, because in the archive episodes that not everyone's listening to, that's where I was destroying you on those ones. But it's redemption.
I'm just letting you know. I'm just saying.
Keep going.
But you're still up, so I can't get that mad at you. But bottom line is this. And guess what? Also,
I had a tougher week than Harvey Weinstein.
That guy's having some problems.
Oh,
now,
man.
The one thing I also wanted to throw, and this is where, did the five-star pick of the week hit or not last week? Damn right. New England coming through for me. 5-star pick of the week.
I really, really was upset. At the end of the day, if I'm going to lose, I would have at least had firepower that your 5-star pick of the week would have been wrong. But I got to tell you, you were right. And listeners out there, if Mitch is going to throw the 5-star pick of the week, I think we should pay attention.
I think so.
Because you're onto something. I don't know if you've lost a 5-star pick of the week since I've known you.
Have you jinxed it now? Sure.
But
we'll see.
A little psychology.
Little thing there. But the one that, before we get to the picks, I just want to talk about one thing, because if we're gonna call people out, we also have to come back and say sorry if they come back and prove us wrong.
Right.
The Cocaine Dolphins. You know what? We thought they were out and about. We thought they were a joke. They are now turning into my new favorite team.
I hate Jay Cutler, but I love the Miami Dolphins. I love what they're doing behind the scenes with the team. And Cutler got the coke, it seems like, and he's doing well. But he just suffered in that last game. He got 3 cracked ribs.
Ooh.
Right? He's
going to need that more than ever now.
Well, I'm wondering, what other drug can they give Cutler? Because they fired the coke guy.
Well, he plays like he's on morphine, so probably morphine. What happens if you mix morphine and coke together? Jeff? What happens if you mix morphine and cocaine together? Oh, there we go.
Speedball.
And the best is how quickly he answered that. That's amazing.
Yeah, he acted like he wasn't paying
He's
attention
like,
at first.
let me Google that real
Are those
quick.
baking ingredients? Does Uncle Ben sell that? That's awesome.
All right, we're going to start up.
Okay.
Here we go. Week number 8, the score is 3-2-1. You're still leading, so I won't cut you down too much. Thursday nighter, everyone's new favorite team, the Dolphins, take on the Ravens.
So, what I realized that last week I got crushed, Mitch.
Yeah.
Okay? My strategy is off, and it's dwindling. So I'm coming with a brand new strategy.
Okay.
And bear with me,
Yeah.
but I'm going to base my picks this week off of who would win, judging by the team's team name. So, for example,
Right.
a Dolphin versus a Raven.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So, a Dolphin versus the Raven. Well, the Dolphins got the sea advantage. Ravens got the air advantage. I think if the Raven came down to attack the Dolphin, I think the Dolphin would bring him into his element. I'm going with the Dolphins.
Okay. You know what? And I'm going on the philosophy of WWAD. What would Angelo do?
You're such a
So
jerk.
here we go.
Did he give you picks again?
No, he didn't, I swear.
Okay.
I swear. And you know, A also stands for my big cousin Ann. She also didn't give it to me, but I'm going to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, in the industry, they call it, this is a trick game. So I'm going to go with the Ravens, even though I love these Dolphins. I'm going Ravens.
Okay.
Vikings, Cleveland.
Okay, so a Viking
Versus a dog, basically.
Versus, no, the Browns, it's a bear.
It's
Now-
called the Dog Pound, you Momo.
What are you talking about?
The stadium, the fans, they're in the Dog Pound.
Is it a brown dog?
It's like it's a form of a dog. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
guess
had a
you're
dog,
right, but I figured
guess,
the brown bear. Whatever.
Okay, so a dolphin, or pardon me, a Viking versus.
You feel proud of yourself doing that? Just publicly oust me like that? Couldn't just let it slide?
It's feeling pretty good.
Fucking jerk.
All right.
Okay. Okay. A Viking versus a brown. I thought it was a bear, but apparently it's a dog now. Now, they're obviously used to hunting them.
I too will go with the Vikings.
Okay.
Falcons at the Jets.
Falcons at the Jets.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons would rally, fly up, and actually mess with the Jets.
Oh, I see where you're
Right?
going.
And bring the plane down. So
Right.
I'm going to go with the Falcons.
You're going with the Falcons. Okay, you're going Falcons. I'm going to go with the Jets because at the end of the day, the Jets are hot and the Falcons suck right now. Panthers at Buccaneers.
Ooh, the Panthers at the Buccaneers. Well, I just think that the Buccaneers, that's a pirate, would have the advantage in the sea, and I don't think a panther has great swimming capabilities.
Why would a panther have to be at the sea? Why can't the buccaneer be in a jungle?
Well, just because, that's a good point. The Buccaneer would probably land to get treasure at the jungle, but I think they would make it back to the boat because they would know the terrain.
I don't know why.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers on this one.
I figured. 49ers at the Eagles.
The 49ers at the Eagles. I don't know what a 49er is.
It's a minor. It's a minor.
In terms of, you know. Well, if it was, then he's obviously passed away.
Right.
And I'm going with the Eagles.
You're going with the Eagles. Yeah. And because of tradition, I have to go with the 49ers here. Bears at the Saints. Two hot teams right now.
Right, the Bears at the Saints. I think if the person saw a bear coming, it would pray to God, and it being a saint obviously has a good in with God, and God would save the saint from the bear. I pick the Saints.
I will also go with you, but not because of that that conclusion. LA Chargers at the New England Patriots.
LA Chargers at the New England Patriots. I think the Chargers is a thing of the 19th century or 20th century and up. The Patriots were around in like the 1776 was the revolution.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I don't think that electricity was around then. So I think by default, the Patriots would win.
Patriots for you. I'm also going to go with the Patriots. Raiders at the Bills. But I like where you're going with all these things.
Yeah, I got to change up the strategy.
Fair enough, fair enough.
The Raiders at the Bills. I personally think that a Raider doesn't play fair. Mm-hmm. And I think on a typical one-on-one matchup, yeah, probably, the Bill would win. But I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one.
The Raiders. Yeah. And I'm going to go with also the Raiders. I think the Bills put a lot of their energy into that game last week. Too much energy. Colts at the Bengals.
That's
Colts pretty easy
at the Bengals.
If you're using your analogy.
Yeah, the Bengal would kill the Colt, right? And it would hunt in more impacts than the Colt would.
I'm also going to go with the Bengals at
Colts,
home.
I think, are defensive animals.
I don't think they're. I think unless they came behind him and he kicks him in the face. But even then, that's just going to make the Bengal mad. So.
Yeah, if the Colt bucks the Bengal, it has an opportunity to come back. Yeah, agreed.
Let's go Texans at Seahawks.
The Texans
I think that's gonna be a good
the
game.
Seahawks. I got to go with a Texan carries firearms.
Yeah.
And I think they're well versed in hunting, and I think they'll be able to shoot the Seahawk down.
You're taking the Texans. I, my friend, will take the Seahawks, the 12th man at home, and also my five-star pick of the week.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not the 5-star.
The 5-star.
Can I switch?
Nope. Damn. Cowboys at Redskins.
The Cowboys.
Be careful here, please. Be careful here, please.
I know when not to make jokes, and I'm going to go with, you know what? On a serious thing, I am going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're falling into a rhythm. I think this is a good game for them to win.
I'm going Redskins. I think the Redskins right now are just looking good, and they're looking okay. They're not great.
Like,
the divisional game, yeah. Steelers at the Lions. It's because I've seen what you're capable of saying sometimes.
True. Steelers at the Lions. I think. I think in Steeltown they're working hard. They're getting really tired. I think if you throw a lion, even in their element, the lion will just... They're the king of the jungle, and I think they'll be the king of this jungle as well.
That's the Sunday night game, and I'm also going with you. I think the Lions, especially after a bye week, are going to be better. Monday night football, the Broncos, who have been falling down on their faces, versus the Chiefs.
The Broncos versus the Chiefs. Ooh, this is an interesting, especially Monday night is weird, right? Mm-hmm. But a Bronco, so I got to think the Bronco. You know what? I think a chief, of the tribe would definitely have the skills to tame a Bronco. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
I am also the only reason I'm going Chiefs is because they're at home. I'm going to join you on that one. So there's a little bit of diversity. A few games, we have like 2 or 3 games. So that is going to be week 8. Do I go for the tie, or do you take another 2-game lead on me? Find out next week. We'll find out. I think this will be a very exciting week. If we tie it, how exciting is that?
Well, it'll bring a new dimension, but we won't. No. My newfound strategy.
Yeah.
is going to
It
push me
could
over
be.
the edge.
Well, I'll have to change mine as well if that's the case. If that's where we're
So,
going.
Mitch, I want to, before we wrap up here, I
Yeah.
just want to bring something to yours and everyone's attention.
Sure.
And that is a couple podcasts ago, we talked about, we're a global phenomenon, right? So we're covering world sports. And if you remember, there was the BWF International Badminton Championships, the U19s.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so those actually...
Who wouldn't remember that?
Well, it was a big thing that was going on, but they actually, since recent, wrapped up a few days ago.
Get out.
Yeah, and we're here to announce the winners and the great winners that happened. We want to give congratulations to, in the men's single from Thailand, Kun Lavut Vitisarn, who won the men's singles
Awesome.
in the U19 championship. His counterpart in the women's singles from Indonesia, that is the home of the Komodo dragon,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Gregoria Ma Tunjung.
So they're under 19, you said? So did they go just back to high school? And play on
19 and under.
19
yeah.
and under. So
Absolutely.
They just finish off high school, finish off, grade 12.
Right.
They're probably like kind of the king of the course.
Could be in
really,
post-secondary as well.
Absolutely. They could,
Yeah.
I suppose, but...
If you're competing at this level, you're an overachiever to begin with, so you're probably doing a couple multiple things. You have to have a background. You have to have a backup plan.
Do you think they're like popular like they are in football players or baseball players or whatever the case may be? Like, do you think they wear varsity jackets and like walk around?
I don't know, man. These guys are probably saying, "Hey, want to see my birdie?"
Yeah.
I think so. I think the sport is, because we're here, we're sheltered from a lot of these global sports, and
Sure,
that's
sure.
why we want to bring
I'm
him up.
glad you're bringing it
But
up
I
first.
bet you that Kunlavut, he's a good-looking guy.
Let me take a look at that.
He's a
Oh,
good-looking
yeah,
guy.
He can score. Yeah,
For sure, he's getting Taiwanese tail.
yeah, he's hitting something.
Right? Or Thailand tail. Sorry, not Taiwan's different. Now, in the men's doubles, the winners came from Japan, Mahiro Kaneko and Yunosuke Kubota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Japanese men's doubles. Counterparts in the women's doubles, we have the winners from South Korea, Ha Na Baek and Yu Rim Lee.
Well,
from South Korea.
congratulations.
And in the mixed doubles, we have our winners Janice Miller and Ed Jablonski. No, I'm just kidding.
Now those mixed teams, are they?
I'm just joking. Yeah. The mixed winners actually came from Indonesia. Reinov Rivaldi and Pitha Hanim. Yeah, Ed Jablonski, Janice Miller. Those aren't winners in badminton. We know that.
I'd love to find out. I wonder if it's like figure skating. Like, is there like a romantic clique? Like, they tell their kids one day, they're like, you know what, honey, I met your mom playing badminton, and I just love the way she smashed the birdie. And it's like, stuff like that. Like, it's just so romantic.
Really good form.
Yeah,
really
crazy,
good form.
Right? Hey, there's something to be
man.
said. Love is found in different ways. So good for them. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw something out there. People think that badminton or world is a joke of a sport. If you think that there's no money in badminton, Mitch, the number one ranked badminton player is from Denmark. His name's Victor Axelsen. He's 23 years old, and he has a career earning of $335,000. 335,977.
We are definitely doing something wrong.
That's American dollar, my friend.
American dollar.
American dollar.
So that person's a billionaire in their country then.
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Well, that's what I'm saying. If you win that kind of money international, this is more predominantly an Eastern sport, living in Thailand,
that's huge.
what kind of real estate does this guy have?
That's big.
Now,
Yeah.
sponsorship dollars.
Right. Where
You
we
know,
at?
thank Pete Zanis last week for the coffees. Home of the 10-cent chicken wing, Bonacera. Nick,
money, big
thank
money.
you for the coffees.
Thank you.
But it's not enough, guys.
Not enough.
It's not enough. We are looking for.
Where's the money?
We need. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the Quan, locker room. Show me the Quan.
Is that you're not stealing his tagline?
No, I'm
are
not.
you?
I'm just. It was because we were talking about.
Because you were.
I'm not stealing it.
You're not stealing it.
I'm
are
not. That's not my thing. I'm not stealing anything. I know what you're trying to do. You sandbagging, baiting son of a gun.
I'm glad you're not going to do it. Yeah, I'm glad. Good.
So I figured I was going to bet badminton, or we were going to bet badminton, but I figured this sport came to an end. We got to look to the future here.
Yeah. What do we got?
Now, I found on Bet365, there's one game that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's in the Women's Champions League handball.
Okay.
And right now we have the Gdynia women versus the Krim Mercator women. Now, the handicap, the Gdynia women are a plus 1.5, and the over-under is 51.5.
Okay, go over for $1,000. We need to get our money back.
Okay, I know we joke about 1,000, but we bet 50 last time.
I know.
We're not betting 1,000.
I still don't understand
Mitch.
why you.
Okay, I'm taking the over. Okay, now we want to get our guys. Zach, Gdynia women or the Krim Mercator women?
I think it's a no-brainer.
Handball.
No brainer, buddy.
Okay, so the bet is we're going to parlay. So that means we're taking the spread and the over under. Okay, and now if we try to make our money back.
$2,000. You're right.
You know, on
push it.
You're ridiculous.
Dude, if we win $2,000 or whatever that works out to be, then we're good for the next year. We can literally cut Jeff a check and we're good. I don't know why we're arguing here about this. This is simple stuff, man.
What do you do for a living?
They just put $1,000. We're good for it. Jeff knows we're good for it. My bookie knows we're good for it. Just put $1,000 down on the thing, man.
Okay. Look, I'm putting 50. I'm being responsible. I'm placing the bet. We just bet 50.
50 doesn't even cover one session in this place, man.
What are you talking about?
$50.
The parlay return is $180, Mitch. Why do you think I control the betting? There's a reason. There's a reason why your bookie loves you. Bet $1,000.
You're probably right.
We got $12 in sponsorship. We're minus 50 in the hole because we lost the last bet 2 weeks ago, and you just want to come up with a G.
Fair enough.
Unless people are willing to sponsor us $1,000,
please stop our gambling ways,
and we'll cut you in on the action.
Exactly.
Awesome.
All right, perfect. So we got that covered. NFL picks. I'm going to win this week. You got destroyed, which was just a great week for me. Thanks again for inviting me to the baptism. That was awesome. And I think that's it. Are we missing anything? Or
you know what? You're putting me in a bad mood when I want to be happy right now. Okay, and that's really selfish.
We know
we
know you're just a miserable person.
Miserable. Yeah. Thanks again, everyone. Again, follow us on all our channels. That's at Real Locker Room Talk. You can get the link. Please sign up to Podbean as well. We're trying to catch that son of a gun, Joe Rogan. We want to take him down.
He's a little bit ahead of us.
He's a little bit ahead, but we're gaining on him.
Yeah, we're getting him.
And Fridays, always be on the lookout. Follow us on Instagram. On the Instagram stories, it's at Real Locker Room Talk. The poll of the week this week, we said, is going to be the standing champion, which are athletes up against
the rock stars.
The rock stars. I don't know.
I have a feeling the rock stars are going to crush this. They're going to crush it.
Yeah, we should have put like record. Actually, they were playing. On a side note, they were playing some of the guys when I came in here. They were sampling the music. It's fucking beautiful. Man.
Really?
They got some good talent here at Alchemy Studios.
Well, that's no doubt. I believe it.
Absolutely. So that's a thing. Alchemy Studios. Thank you once again. You guys are unreal.
Always rocking it.
Always rocking it. Until then, we're gonna hit the showers.
Sounds good. See you guys.